Okay, so a little background on Kayla before we get started. Kayla is a 17-year-old senior in high school. She lives in a two-parent household with two younger sisters and very involved parents. Although her parents are extremely involved and supportive, she often feels the need to stay strong for them, especially since her mom is also grieving the loss of Kayla's grandmother. Her parents weren't able to finish high school because they had to get jobs to assist their families with the bills. Therefore, Kayla is on her way to being a first-generation high school graduate. She is dealing with the loss of her grandmother while also trying to stay afloat in her academics. Kayla has been emotionally withdrawn and is currently failing multiple classes, running the risk of not graduating. Multiple teachers have reported disengagement, missing assignments, and absences on test days. Although she has supportive parents and friends, she finds herself isolating out of fear of being a burden. Kayla shows a clear motivation during the session to perform better academically, feel better emotionally, reconnect with friends, and develop helpful coping strategies to deal with the grief of her grandmother. So, hi Kayla. My name is Miss Jordan, and I'm very glad to see you in the counseling center here today. This is a safe space and a judgment-free zone. Before we start, I do want to discuss a very important topic with you known as confidentiality. Everything you share today stays completely between us unless it involves an issue of seriously harming yourself, others, or someone is seriously harming you. Do you have any questions about confidentiality before we get started today?
Wait, so if I tell you something really personal, like I'm extremely sad or having dark thoughts, does that stay between us too? Would you have to tell my parents?
That is a very important question, Kayla, and I appreciate you asking me that. Everything we talk about will stay between us unless you share something that makes me think you're in danger of harming yourself or others, or if you're being harmed by someone else. In those specific situations, I would need to inform someone of my concerns to help keep you safe. In some cases, that would also include informing your parents, but I would never do that to you without talking to you first, and I would make sure that you feel heard and supported during that process. Otherwise, this is a safe space where everything you share stays completely private. If you're feeling really sad and having what you labeled earlier as dark thoughts, that's something we can talk about safely here. It doesn't mean I have to tell anyone unless there is serious danger. I mainly just want to be here for you and understand what's going on. Does that clear up any confusion?
Yeah, that makes sense. When I say dark thoughts, I don't mean I want to harm myself or anything like that. I just feel really hopeless, sad, and overwhelmed at times. I feel more open to talk about it knowing it stays between us.
Okay, great. I'm glad that we were able to clear that up, Kayla. Have you ever spoken to a counselor before? Sometimes it can be a little uncomfortable and weird, which is totally normal. It's okay to feel out of place here, especially at first. There's no right or wrong way to be here.
No, this is actually my first time. I wasn't really sure what to expect, but yeah, it does feel a little weird. I guess a part of me was nervous about what to say or if I would be judged, but I'm really glad I came.
I'm glad to hear that, Kayla. I'm glad you came as well. So let's get started. What brings you in today?
I feel like everything is falling apart. I can't keep up with school. I haven't even opened up some of my assignments, and I purposely miss school on test days because I'm not prepared. I'm struggling with the loss of my grandma. She passed away 2 months ago, and I was really close to her. She was basically my third parent. I just can't seem to focus on school right now, and I don't really care to. I'm also having trouble dealing with my emotions in a healthy manner. I feel like I'm letting myself and those around me down.
Thank you for trusting me and sharing the information with me, Kayla. It sounds like there's intense amounts of pressure and grief weighing on you all at once, which at times can feel unbearable. I'm so deeply sorry for your loss. I want you to know you aren't alone in this. I'm here to support you however you need.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, everyone keeps talking about graduation and how excited they are. But I can't even think about that right now. I just feel so stuck. I'm so numb and angry all the time. I feel like I can't even begin to focus on school when I am constantly feeling this way.
It is completely normal to feel numb, angry, sad, and all types of other emotions during the grieving process. Everyone experiences grief differently, and no one way is the right way. You're allowed to feel how you feel, and you're allowed to be wherever you are in your grieving process, free of judgment.
Thank you. I know what I'm feeling is okay and normal, but that doesn't make it feel any better to know that. I just want to feel better.
Yes, that's very true. Knowing something is normal doesn't make it any easier to live through. Sometimes it's not about fixing the feeling, but about having the space to feel what you need to feel without outside pressure. Earlier, you discussed feeling stuck and not being able to push forward towards graduation like everyone else can. Does it feel like they're talking about a future that seems almost unreachable to you?
Yes, exactly. I was going to be first generation high school graduate, and my grandma was so excited with her gone, it seems pointless to even continue towards my goals.
Okay, so you're grieving both her loss and her dreams for you as well. It sounds like losing her also meant losing the encouragement that she gave you. It's a lot to deal with while also trying to navigate your life without her support.
Yeah, I miss her so much, and no one at school seems to get that.
Yes, that makes complete sense that your focus would change after losing someone who was such a big part of your life. That loss in your grief process doesn't just go away because you have assignments due or an upcoming test.
Exactly, and I keep thinking that if she were here, I'd care to do better.
It is very clear that she meant so much to you, Kayla, and it's completely okay that things feel so off right now. Even though it's hard, I believe you're still carrying parts of her with you, and maybe holding on to those parts can give you some strength as you keep moving forward.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. I just can't wait to feel better and get my motivation back. I feel very lost.
Yes, very understandable. Our goal is to get you there, so let me ask you a question. If we took away all the expectations currently put on you, the grades, the deadlines, the graduation requirements, what do you think you need the most right now to feel okay?
Probably just time and space to breathe and collect myself. Every time I hear about school, I get reminded about my shortcomings right now, and it really stresses me out. I feel like a failure.
Your feelings are completely valid, Kayla. You're in no way a failure. You're grieving and surviving in the best way that you can. The first step is showing up for yourself, and that's what you're doing today by walking into the counseling center and asking us for help. What do you think gathering yourself would look like? What tactics could you do on a daily basis to help yourself go through the grieving process and get back to your original academic success?
I think it would look like setting small goals for myself each day. Something as small as actually showing up to class, even if not prepared for the day. I could also maybe do a to-do list every start of the week to give something to follow, but only a few things so I don't get overwhelmed. Also, in regard to homework, maybe I could start giving myself little goals for the day, such as completing a missing assignment or reading one of the articles I'm supposed to.
I think those are great ideas, Kayla. You discussed a few ways for you to help yourself with school, but what about showing up for yourself emotionally? What are some healthy activities you can start doing to allow yourself to properly feel your emotions?
I could start to journal again. I used to write down my thoughts when she first passed away, but it kind of just made everything more real than I was ready to accept yet. It was really overwhelming. However, it did seem to calm me down the last few times I wrote in my journal. I'll start doing that again. Going for walks or listening to music always eases my mind, so maybe I could do both of those again too.
Yes. Journaling, physical activity, and listening to music are great ways to show up for yourself, Kayla. Perhaps you can be more intentional with your time every day and set aside time to do at least one of those activities. We can start off slow with maybe 10 to 20 minutes of your time and increase the amount of that time and the amount of activities in a day as we move forward. It doesn't have to be long times at all, just as long as you're setting aside time each day to throw in some form of self-care. Setting aside time for yourself can really help everything feel less hectic.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I think having time just for me, like not school, family stuff, or other outside pressure, I'd be able to thoroughly feel my emotions. I might start walking to and from school while listening to headphones to ensure the beginning and end of my school day involves something I enjoy doing. I almost like something to look forward to, I guess.
That sounds like a really intentional plan, Kayla. I love that you're trying to find ways to create moments of peace for yourself throughout the day. Walking with music can be a very grounding routine, something calming when everything else might seem to be spiraling out of control. It seems like you feel like you don't have much control over your life right now. So if you start building on one or two things that are yours, maybe you'll feel a little more in control.
Yeah, I think so too. I think doing those things could make me feel better.
Absolutely. Creating those small routines isn't about fixing everything overnight, but it is about giving yourself those small victories and reminding yourself you do have control over how you take care of yourself, even if you can't control other things in your life. When you do that consistently, it slowly starts to lift some of that emotional weight off of your shoulders. I want to remind you that it's okay if some days are harder than others. Showing up doesn't necessarily mean being perfect every day, but at least you are trying.
That really helps. I feel like I focused so much on not doing enough that I forgot simply trying matters still.
It really does. That's a great realization, Kayla. And more importantly, I hope you're able to give yourself permission to feel everything: sadness, grief, frustration, anger, without judging yourself for it. It's okay to move forward slowly. You're not falling behind at all. You are grieving, which, like I said earlier, is different for everyone at different paces.
Thank you. That does give me a sense of relief. I feel like maybe I could do this.
Good, Kayla. You absolutely can do this. You've been very honest today and shared some big feelings. I'm wondering, do you feel like you have people you can lean on outside of here? Like friends, family members, teachers, or anyone else that you trust to talk about things like this with?
My parents care a lot and try to be involved as much as they can, but it just feels like they don't get it sometimes. They keep asking about school and my grades, but I don't think they see how much I'm struggling emotionally. I feel bad worrying them, especially when my mom is the one going through this too, since she lost her mom. I'm the oldest of two other sisters, so I feel like I have to be strong in front of them and try to keep it together, but that makes everything a little harder. Regarding friends, I pulled away quickly when everything started to get too overwhelming. Some reached out at first, but I kind of just stopped responding.
That's understandable, Kayla. When we are grieving or overwhelmed, sometimes it's hard to show up socially. However, it does sound like you have lots of people that care about you and your well being, even if they don't know how to show up for you in the ways that you need. Sometimes, even just communicating to your loved ones the type of support that you need can be a very helpful start. Maybe we could also explore ways for you to reconnect with the people you trust in a low pressure manner.
Yeah, I think I was afraid they'd be annoyed, so I didn't really want to deal with it. I didn't really know what to say, but I guess I won't know until I try.
Yes, exactly. You don't have to do it all at once. Even starting with one person, such as responding to a text message or having a short conversation, can remind you you're not as alone as you think.
That's true. I think I'll try to text my friends after this. Maybe just to say hi or see how they've been doing.
That's a really brave step, Kayla. Those little moments can add up over time. What about teachers here on campus? Are there any teachers that you trust that can assist you further with your academic struggles during this time?
Yeah. My math teacher has offered multiple tutoring opportunities to me. I just haven't taken them. She's also said there is an after school program I can enroll in that assists with missing assignments and catching up on credits before graduation. I'll try to talk to her about that again.
That sounds like a great place to start. It's awesome that your teacher has already offered you support. If you'd like, I can connect with her directly to coordinate the tutoring or after school program for you. That way you're not doing this all alone. We're all here to support you any way we can, Kayla.
Yes, that sounds nice. Thank you.
Of course. I'd really like for us to continue meeting regularly, just once a week for now. It's only November and we have a lot of time until graduation. I think meeting regularly can give you a space to process all of this and come up with strategies that feel realistic and doable to help with your academic success, but more importantly, your healing journey. How do you feel about continuing our sessions, Kayla?
I'd like that. It feels easier to breathe just talking to someone about it. I think meeting again would really help.
I'm so glad to hear that, Kayla. How about we check in every Thursday during your free period? It doesn't have to be long sessions. Sometimes they can be a quick 5 to 10 minute check-in if you don't feel like talking very much.
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay, that's perfect. For our next session, maybe you can try to do some of the things we discussed today, like journaling, going on walks, reaching out to friends, and listening to music. Even just showing up to a few classes, even if you don't feel like it. This is all about progress, not perfection. Next session, we can start off with how those experiences went for you.
Okay, I could try that.
You did a great job today, Kayla, and I want to thank you for being so open with me. You're doing more than you realize just by being here. I look forward to our session next week, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Miss Jordan. This was really helpful for me. See you next week.
That was not long enough.
Hmm?
I don't think it was long enough.
You don't think so?
Ugh! 15 seconds.